One day, a very beautiful woman came to a king's court. She was so beautiful that all the people in the court were dumbfounded. They fell silent as she walked up to the king and bowed respectfully.
"Your Majesty,"
she said,
"I am a weaver, and my team has perfected the art of magical weaving. I have brought a sample for you."
She opened a tiny matchbox and took out a silk shirt from inside it. The cloth was so soft and so light that the king was bewildered.
"This is like air!"
he exclaimed.
"Yes, Your Majesty. It is a special technique that we use to weave such exotic cloth. However, we are working on a new project these days. We are designing a cloth that is lighter, thinner, and softer than this shirt. We call it the celestial cloth."
The king and his court listened carefully. As the woman's intoxicating voice echoed through the great hall, the king said,
"All right, I will fund the project. But you will have to present a sample to me after your research is complete."
The woman agreed, and with the large bag of gold coins that the king gave her, she left. Days passed. Then months passed. The king grew restless, as there was still no sign of the woman. Finally, he sent some of his ministers and guards to the place where she said her workshop was. When they reached the workshop, they were astonished at what they saw. There were looms, but there was no thread. 7 weavers worked on it, and they were so absorbed in their work that none of them noticed the troop of men standing there looking at them in amazement. The looms worked, but there was no cloth that came out of them. They returned to court and reported this strange happening. The king was furious. He sent for the woman at once. The woman arrived with a servant girl, carrying an empty plate. They bowed to the king, and the woman said,
"Your Majesty, I have brought the sample you had asked for."
And the servant girl proceeded to present the empty plate to the king. The king opened his mouth to say that the plate was empty. When the woman spoke again,
"Your Majesty, this is a sample of the celestial cloth. It is invisible to ordinary human beings, but those who are very intelligent and wise can see how splendid it is."
The men who had gone to visit the workshop were shocked to hear this. They began to think, did we give the king the impression that we were not wise but fools? Then this is the time to set it right. One of them approached the king and said,
"Your Majesty, what a splendid material this is. The embroidery is exquisite. It is a delightful thing, and truly fits a king.
On hearing this, the king was confused. He was in trouble. If he said he couldn't see any cloth, his subjects would think he was a fool. If he said he could see the cloth, the woman would con him of his money and get away with it. The king gestured for his wise minister to come near him, and he whispered everything into the wise man's ear. The minister smiled. He turned to the woman and said,
"Lady, we appreciate your talent. It is indeed a pleasure to accept this great piece of celestial cloth. But with due respect, the king requests that you kindly wear the clothes in the court, so that we may admire how beautiful they look on a person."
The woman understood that her trick had backfired. She could either accept her mistake or stand without clothes in public. She fell at the king's feet and begged for his mercy. The king was kind, so he forgave the woman. However, she had to return the bag of gold she had taken from him.